a conditioning cycle for a bikini athlete. Bikini has been around since 2009. It was sanctioned by the IFBB 2009 professional division, and it's a counterpart of bodybuilding. So the look we're going for is all for symmetry, muscle tone, definition. Most of it is glute focus, and of course, you know, abs, a little abs, no striations or anything like that. Not as muscular as bodybuilding or the other divisions. So today we're going to work on the conditioning aspect of it. Before we start, we're going to do some warm-ups to really wake up your glutes and just warm up the hip flexors as we're doing plyometrics, as well as some strength training. Okay? And I'll be using this band for a little more resistance on the lateral part of the glutes as well as the top part of the glutes. I'm going to be using the stairs. It's one of my favorites. So we're going to start with maybe about 5 minutes worth. Nothing fast, slow, steady pace. So first we're going to do walking. Okay, we're going to do kickback, really activate the tummy part of the glute, also called the tummy bump. Always adjust it. Now we're going to work on warming up the hip flexors. We're going to keep them high. Notice I'm not using the bars clean. I'm carrying my weight to get me clean. Now we're going to work the lateral part of the glute. We're going to do a side kick out. And other way. Now Ashley, our bikini athlete, will be demonstrating. She is at the beginning of her 6-week conditioning phase of her training. Okay, so now Ashley is going to be warming up. Main purpose of this is to really fire up her glutes, warm up her hip flexors, and get her heart rate up as well. So now she's doing kickbacks, and then she's going to go into her hip flexors, high knees, to really warm up those hip flexors. And now she's going to work on warming up the lateral part of the glutes. And she's going to kick to the side, toes pointing down. So she's going to be doing this for about 5 minutes or so to get her nice and warm. And we're going to switch to the other side. Because bikini is judged usually from the back, that's where the conditioning and your glutes come into play, but also your quads have to do with your symmetry as well when you're looking from the front. So we don't want to build the quads and make it big, we want it to have more detail, so it just looks streamlined and goes together. We're going to do an extended hip leg extensions. Reason why is because with extended hips, we're going to hit our vastus medialis more, which is the teardrops. And primarily, I do it to pull the kneecap over to keep your kneecap nice and strong and your legs healthy. So we're going to start with this. Just to warm up, we're going to do 2 sets of 20, okay? Weight is going to be very light. So the focus is going to be on the extension. 1 second up, 3, 2, 1 down. So you should feel it right here. 20 of these. Now Ashley's going to demonstrate. So she's really focusing on the extension on the very top, feeling the burn on her medialis, and slow on the negative. So we're focusing on this muscle right here. Just for aesthetics and as well as for just to keep the kneecap in line and healthy. Okay? She's gonna do 2 sets of 20 just to get her quads all warmed up for our next movement, which will be the hex bar deadlift. Next, we're gonna be doing hex bar deadlifts. Difference between hex bar deadlift and a straight bar barbell deadlift. This hex bar is more targeted for your vastus lateralis, which is the sweep on the outside part of your quads. So we're gonna do 3 sets of 15, and it's all about the form. Before you initiate the lift, we're going to make sure the middle part of the bar, which is where the weight's at, is in line with the top part of your shoes, which is the middle part of your shoes, okay? From here, the cues, shoulder blades retracted, nice and tight, squeeze back, core tight, chest up, looking straight ahead, and we're going to drive straight up. 3/4 up, blow up hard. On the way down, keep your core nice and tight. Inhale, and back up. So I'm going to do this 15 times. Next, Ashley will demonstrate. Now, before she starts her lift, we're going to make sure her stance is all in order. The middle part of the bar is going to be right around the middle part of her shoes. And chest up, shoulders retracted, deep breath. And we're going to drive straight up. Exhale. Perfect. Notice her toes are slightly turned out and her stance is right outside her hips. Good. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate the sumo deadlift. The difference between the hex bar and the straight bar is this bar, because your grip is in the front, it's going to be more posterior chain to get up. So we're going to focus on hitting the hamstrings and the glutes. So this stance can be a little bit wider. Toes slightly turned out. On the descent, you want your chest up, core nice and tight. And the grip is an over-under grip. It's preference. I like this grip because it's a bit stronger grip for me, okay? And before you get up, your cues, deep breath. Keep the bar dragging up your legs. 3/4 up, blow out hard. Slow. We're going to do 15 reps, okay? Now slow. Take your time and drive up. Now Ashley's going to demonstrate. We're going to do an overhand grip. It's her preference. The stance is the same, toes out, it's a little wider stance. And notice the bar is touching her shin and at the very top of her shoelaces. So the line of the bar is perfect. Perfect. So she's going to do 15 reps. And about 3 sets, okay? Now we're going into the last movement of our strength training, and we're going to do a hip thrust on the Smith machine with a band around the knees. So this band is going to add more resistance at the peak contraction, and the reason why we have the band on is because at the top we're going to push our knees apart, let external rotation of the hips, so they'll hit your glutes more, okay? So now with the setup, you want the bench in line between your elbows and your shoulders. From here, we're going to walk our feet out. The further out it is, the more glute activation. Closer the feet are to you, more hamstring. So we're going to fight somewhere in the middle. I'm going to turn, bring your feet together close. So at the bottom, knees are together. At the top, extended hips and knees apart. All glutes. Back down. And exhale as you get to the top. Notice I'm pushing my knees apart. So we do this 15 times. Okay, so as she's set up, we want the bench somewhere in between her shoulders and her elbows. So that's where the edge of the bench should be. Her feet close together. And we're gonna push your knees apart at the very top. Full extension of the hips. That's perfect. That full extension is right where it's going to hit the glutes the most. And notice her feet is a little bit farther away from her body. That hits more glutes versus the feet being closer. You can change this and it'll hit your hamstrings. And now she's going to do 3 sets of 15, okay? Now we're into the more conditioning aspect of our lower body day. And we're going to start out with a box jump, into a depth jump, to a box jump. So you're going to need a medium box and a high box, okay? So before we start, your stance, your feet can be right outside your hips. We're going to bring yourself into a squat position and explode straight up using your hands to guide your weight. Off. Step off. That's 1. 2. So I'm going to do this 15 times. Now Ashley's going to demonstrate the box jump into a depth jump into a higher box jump. So that's a tongue twister. She's going to do this 15 times. So as she jumps into both boxes, that counts as 1 repetition. For detail, just to bring in the symmetry, ties everything in together when you're on stage. Okay? So tuck jump. All you want to do, use the hands as a guide. You want to just explode upwards and touch your knees to your hands. Okay? And immediately, as soon as you touch the ground, you're going to go back up. So Ashley's going to demonstrate the tuck jump.
Touching your knees.
Oh, you're fine. Now she's bringing her knees up really high. So now we did 2 vertical plyometrics exercises, box jumps and tuck jumps, and they're both good for your quads for detail. So now we're going to hit more of the posterior chain, your glutes and hamstrings, and that will entail jumping forward for distance. Okay? So before we start, toes slightly out. We're going to go into a squat position. And to jump up, we're going to explode using your hips and glutes to get up. For distance. Right between the two. Now she's using her hips to really propel her weight forward. And this is all for glutes and hamstrings. Now we're going to do some cable lateral side kick out.